A 27-2 Lycan with almost double the net worth of the next person. Lycan is one of those heroes that can really snowball if he has a good start. But in this game, 33 actually faces a very tough lane. He dies twice in the early game, he doesn't get anything out of his first two shapeshifts, so how does he still manage to carry this game? Stick around and find out.
My holiness deepens. Welcome
to the Church of 33. Lycan isn't played much in the pro scene at the moment, but he's having a lot of success in high-level pubs. One of the strengths of this hero is that he can be played in any core role, and here in this game you'll see 33 playing him as a mid. So at the start, he sends out wolves right away to scout, and you also want to do this whether you're mid or in the offlane or safe lane. But if you're in one of the side lanes, you definitely want to move out after summoning your first pair of scout wolves. So he's scouting around with his wolves, seeing what's up, and unfortunately his micro here is not exactly up to par. He just lets this wolf die here. This is completely unnecessary, this death. But yeah, he's gonna summon wolves now again, and he's gonna send those wolves into mid. So he sends those wolves down here to do some more scouting, and also gonna bring them here in to do some blocking, because it's actually very hard to block with Lycan. He has a smaller collision size than most other heroes, so it's very easy to mess up your block, so these wolves are there as a safeguard against that. It's a bit unusual to see Lycan in the mid lane, but he's actually quite decent as a mid laner, because he has good CSing and he has good sustain with his Feral Impulse aura. So he's kind of similar to DK in that he has not a lot of offensive capabilities at the start, but it's also difficult to push him out of lane, and as long as you ferry yourself a couple of selves and mangoes, you can really keep up your CS. You can see the CS is basically dead even here between the OD and the Lycan. OD generally is a really good hero against these melee heroes. In terms of skill build, Lycan is quite straightforward. You max out your wolves, then you max out your Feral Impulse, and then you max out your hull, and of course taking points of shapeshift whenever you can. In terms of item build, 33 is just going for a Quelling Blade at the start, as well as components of a headdress, and then finishing the headdress right away with the courier. And now he's just going straight into this Dominator. Dominator is one of those items that are really strong if you get them early, and that's why he's rushing for this item. He could also throw in a stick here, but he's just going to go straight for the Dominator. And to make this work, it's very important that you ferry yourself mangoes and salves. And he's also playing here with a CM in his team, so if you didn't have this Arcane Aura, you probably would get even more mangoes. So far the lane is quite close in terms of CS, but OD has a bit more in terms of net worth because he had to buy less region. And now a wild Earthshaker appears, doesn't quite get a good angle for a fissure, so he backs off a bit here, and 33, thinking that he's alone in this lane, walks in here again, but there's a haste-runed OD, sets up here with the Astral Imprisonment, and here's a fissure, and that's an easy kill for OD. As Lycan goes back into the lane, he gets banished right away, and Earthshaker is still there, and now Lycan is forced to use his ultimate, and he wants to get some sort of kill here, and he can sort of play around here a little bit, because fissures in cooldown, they have nothing that really outranges him, and he's so fast, but he doesn't get a kill, and he has to back off. And this is really a big pity. With your first shapeshift, you really want to get a kill, but it's important not to force it. If you can't get a kill, you'll just have to back out. And it's really important to know your limits with shapeshift. Shapeshift gives you a lot of movement speed, gives you extra night vision, but in terms of straight up fighting power, it's not that strong actually. It's only 20% DPS boost at level 1, so that's not that much. You have to be careful here. And here's another banish you can set up on, and this fissure is enough for this Earthshaker to kill him, because Earthshaker has boots and the Windlace, and Lycan doesn't have boots yet. You definitely want to skip those boots, because it's more important to get this Dominator out early, and of course with your shapeshift you don't really care about boots. And this courier is also going to die. That's Maiden's courier. So now Lycan is in big trouble. He is level 6, but he didn't get anything done with his first shapeshift. He's died twice, and he's really fallen behind the OD. How do you come back from this? Well, first of all, the most important thing is don't panic. He has his Dominator now, he's flying out on his courier, and with this his farm is going to improve a lot. Also his kill potential is going to improve a lot, especially if you get a Centaur, you can really easily get kills. And he very smartly stands up this wolf here and tries to go for this stack here. Unfortunately this hill troll gets crippled, and that sort of causes it to stay behind here, and the stack is ruined. But he gets a Alpha Wolf, which is okay-ish, but it's not the best. What you want is a Centaur or a Hellbear Smasher. And he's now leaving this lane to Rubik, so that Rubik can get us level 6. And at this stage of the game, you actually farm just as fast in the jungle, or maybe even faster. So it's great to just clear out this triangle, and you can even do this ancient, that's actually fine. It does take a little bit of damage, but by spreading it out over several units, it's actually okay because you have so much regen. So he can easily take this camp, and that's one of the harder ancient camps to actually take. And now he wants to go down here and he wants to fight. The reason he wants to fight is he has his Shapeshift up. And that's generally the theme with playing Lycan. When you have Shapeshift up, you want to fight. So he goes in here, they go for the Snapfire. Snapfire gets the kill on this Dominator creep, but pays with the life, and very smartly at 33 not committing his ultimate. But now that the Radiant are committing here, he also has to use his ultimate. But this Echo Slam was just way too strong, and so he has to back out. And again, as mentioned before, it's important to know your limits with Shapeshift. This does not actually give you very much combat power, it just gives you the power to engage and disengage at your leisure. And it's important not to fall for this sort of sunk cost fallacy where you say, okay, I've committed my ultimate, I need to get a kill now, I need to just make this work somehow. You don't do that, you have to constantly reevaluate the situation, and in that situation he was outnumbered, outgunned, he had to run. And so he just goes here back and farms. And often you feel a lot of pressure as Lycan when you're behind, because Lycan is supposed to be ahead in the stage of the game, but he's not here in this game. So a lot of players would feel a lot of pressure to just make some move, make something happen, but not 33. He's just playing this calmly, he's just farming, and then when his ultimate is going to be up, he's maybe going to fight, but he's not going to force things. Here in the early game, 33 places a lot of importance on Centaur creeps. So he's even going to give up his Hellbear Smasher for the Centaur. The reason for that is that disable is so important. Hellbear Smasher is really great, his aura benefits a lot from your Feral Impulse aura and from your Helm of Dominator aura, but the stun is just so important in the early game. And speaking of stuns, it's also very important to pick Lycan in a lineup that has a lot disable. So we have this Rubik with a stun, we have Bloodseeker with a pseudo disable from Rupture, we have Crystal Maiden with a slow and a root and another slow, and we have Axe with a stun and like a little bit of a slow. But if you pick a Lycan in a lineup that doesn't have a lot of stun, you just end up running at people endlessly and not really accomplishing much. And you really want to hit hard during this ultimate, you want to actually kill people rather than just chase them away. Fight breaks out here, and so Lycan immediately commits his ultimate, goes in there, it's already a kill, doesn't need Lycan for that, but he's going to get more kills here, because he knows that they're going to try to save OD. He gets one kill here, and this ultimate is about to run out, so he just goes away. And even lets his Rubik die down here. You don't want to be caught out with the ultimate. At this stage of the game he's not that strong, he's kind of weak, so he has to just fight during his ultimate and then run away and go farm. Even that means giving up these two support kills. But it still was a really good engagement, a really good fight for them. They got more out of this fight, not a lot more, but they got more, and when you're behind like they are currently, every little win is one you take. And so now he's just doing some bit of farming with his Necro, and you can easily take these ancient creeps here, these Necros, do piercing damage, meaning they do increased damage against creeps, and reduce damage against heroes and buildings. Lycan is just calmly pushing up mid lane, waiting at the bottom, a fight erupts, they catch Snapfire, and Bloodseeker and Rubik get the kill, and Rune's also about to come up, so 33 is gonna run down here and join in this rune fight. And he's too late for the runes, but he's early enough to run in here and find a whole bunch of kills. There's a kill, this Void Spirit is more difficult kill, so he goes for the much easier kill, that's the Drow Ranger. Also the more important kill because she just does more damage. And Drow dies, Void Spirit also trying to save her, also dies. So they get 3 kills for the price of 1, as well as of course taking this objective. And that's just generally the game plan you have as Lycan. You farm when your ultimate is on cooldown. When your ultimate is up, you look for a fight. When you win that fight, you take an objective if possible, and then you go back to farming. And you just do this over and over again. And now that 33 has his Necro level 3, he gets an extra active ability from his Archer. And so it's important now to talk a bit about control groups. And I talked about control groups for Lycan in a previous video I did about using Helm of the Dominator. So I'm going to play this clip for you now. On a hero like Lycan, I have a bit more complicated setup. So I have one control group for everything. And I have one just for my wolves. I have one for my creep. I have another group for my ranged necro unit, so I can use this purge effectively without having to tab through. And then I have extra control groups for each of my individual wolves. So if I want to scout around with these wolves, maybe like follow some enemy hero around, I can use these groups to move my individual wolves, which can come in quite handy. It's important to note that these hotkey assignments are persistent, so they stay with you even if you start a new game. So even if I've never summoned this Necro Archer before in this game, I still have it on 4. It's always on 4. You can just set this up in demo mode or in a botnet or something like that before you play Lycan in a real game, and just have all of your control groups and setups right away. And this hotkey for my creep, for Dominator, stays with me, even if I dominate a different group. So right now I have in 3 the Centaur Conqueror, and if I take over this Alpha Wolf, it's still on 3. So this makes micro a lot easier compared to the old version in Dota 1. So let's put it all together. We want to go for this Viper here. First we slow him, and we run past here, Stomp, use a Howl, and that is an easy kill. If you just do this a regular way without any sort of particular micro, you just run after this guy, you know, see, he's not really dying. It takes forever to actually kill this guy. I mean, he's eventually dying, but it just takes so much longer. And a real game against an enemy that's actually fighting back and actually being rescued by his teammates, we're probably not getting this kill. And that's why practicing your micro, having these control groups set up ahead of time is so important. If you want to see the rest of that video, click the card on the top right. A little bit of a fight breaks out in mid, and so Lycan makes his way down here, but this fight gets disengaged, and so he just farms this camp in the meanwhile and prepares to join this fight. He has Necro 3 now, so he sees this ward. In general, what you want to do is you want to come in from a different angle than the rest of your team, so you can cut off the enemy's retreat path. But here it's been revealed by this ward, which of course with his Necro 3 sees, so he can deward it. But this also means the enemy knows he's coming. And here I think he's playing a little bit too cocky here, and he gets gone on. And he almost dies, but he gets his ultimate off and manages to run away. So this was very close. And he sticks around here, provides his aura to his summons, and then the summons are dead. And so he just runs away. And he just goes and does some farming. Lycan's coolers are almost up, so they go for a smoke here. They try to see what's up, and they run into an Earthshaker. You don't want to go on this Earthshaker too much. You really want this 2-tier target, the OD. But 33, he's going for the target. This OD is going to die anyway, and it's going to take too long. So he's just going to go here and go for this. Earthshaker is going to go for the Drow Ranger, and he's just going to kill everything, and together with his Bloodseeker they're just going to run down everyone. And this is really the key fight where this game turns around. And what did we say? You win a fight, you take an objective, and it's delayed a little bit here, but he's still going to take this objective. And then what he's going to do then, he is going to go back and farm some more. Very simple game plan, but very effective if you just keep doing that. There's a fight going on in the middle here, but 33 does not care. He's just in farm mode right now. He can't help this Crystal Maiden, she's just dead. Nothing to be done about this. So just farm some more. Speaking of farming, what are the items he wants to go for here? He went for Dominator and Necro. These are sort of the standard core items you go on Lycan. You're almost always going to get these two items. And after that, he's gone for Power Treads. He skipped boots entirely before these two items because you don't really need it too much. You only want to fight when you have Shapeshifts, basically. And your farming speed is really more limited by the movement speed of your creeps, because those are what does most of the damage. So you don't really care too much of movement speed, but eventually having this turret is nice. It's just a very efficient item as they get another fight here, and they just go for this Straw Ranger. The Straw Ranger is having a very difficult time. And even if she gets this Hurricane Pike, it's going to be really difficult for her to actually escape this wolf, who can just keep running at her and doesn't care about being silenced. And then after this the treads, we're going to go for BKB in this game. And against this team, they just can't do anything against you if you have BKB'd. OD does no damage if you BKB'd. Earthshaker doesn't do anything except blocking you with Fissure maybe. Snapfire doesn't do anything against BKB. None does Void Spirits. And I mean, Drow can right click you, but you just run into her and she just dies. So there's really nothing they can do once 33 has this BKB. If you're in a game where they don't have a lot of disable, you can be a bit more greedy and go for AC right away. But in a majority of games, you probably want this BKB before getting AC. We skipped over a couple of minutes, which were basically more of the same, more of just the Dire getting more of an advantage whenever they had Shapeshift up. And now we have an Aegis on this Bloodseeker, and now they have the problem of just somehow being able to go high ground. They want to force an engagement somewhere. They push this bottom tower here and very smartly positioning the wolves forward to do some scouting. And now they force the enemy to react here. I think this is a mistake. I think if you're the Radiant here, just let this tower go. But they want to fight here, and they just come in one by one, and they just can't stand against this Lycan. Lycan with BKB is just not something that this team can stop. So we see just one after the other dying, and with its level 20 talent, this Shapeshift lasts for a very long time, and it just gets so many kills here. You can hide, but you can't run, and this is 4 people down. And now with this Rubik diving in here, they even get this kill on the Drow. Rubik plays with his life, but that's very much worth it. Now they can just take this high ground. Moves back a little bit here during this cliff, and then he goes back in again, and you can easily take the objectives. Problem with Lycan is you can't really push high ground when the enemy is defending it, because your summons will die rather quickly if the enemy is just pushing out with their spells and their long range attacks. And you can't really run at people when they're in their base. That's kind of difficult. So what you want to do is just try to get a fight somewhere outside the base, get kills, and then you take out the objectives really quickly once the enemy is no longer defending. Maiden gets gone on here. Rubik is still dead, and the Radiant think they can actually take a fight here outside the base, and it's going well for them so far, but the cavalry is about to arrive. And now that Lycan is here, this fight is a foregone conclusion. You just run these people down one by one. Especially important to go after the Drow Ranger. And yeah, there's just no way they can actually fight here. And no tactical pausing is going to help them here. And that's on the kill. And now this game is basically over. Before we close out, let's talk a little bit about talents. At level 10 you generally want to go for this armor talent. Crit damage is nice and all, but armor is generally better because you don't really have problems dealing damage. It's more about surviving. And you also don't have very much attack speed because Lycan has very poor agility and also has a slower than normal base attack time. Level 15 and level 25 are pretty straightforward. You always take cooldown reduction and shapeshift duration. Those are just much better than the other talents. Level 25, surprisingly, is a little bit more of a choice. At first glance, this 3 wolf summons sounds really bad, but actually it's quite strong. And if you actually look at the win rates of those talents, you'll find that the Wolf Summon talent has a much higher win rate, which is also partially because this talent tends to be good in games where Lycan is strong and where it just has no natural counters. But it's also a talent that's really strong in the games where you can pull it off. But here you're playing against a Earthshaker, so generally this critical strike talent is going to be stronger. So this is how you play Lycan. You're just being very patient if you're behind in the early game, and then when you can, you take fights with the ultimate. After that, if you win the fight, you take an objective, and then it's just back to farming. And you just do this over and over again, try to get a big advantage, and try to win a fight decisively, and then go for a high ground. So that's my first Lycan video on this channel. If you want to see more Lycan, tell me so in the comment section. And if you want to see more content on Chen and various other micro heroes, please join the fold by subscribing and clicking the bell. Next up, I recommend you watch this video about dominating the early game as Beastmaster, and Obelisk Villing. I'll see you there.